When it comes to buying a phone, there is one central question. Android or Apple? Well, if you're looking to upgrade right now, then two of the best phones you can choose between are Samsung's new Galaxy S22 Ultra or Apple's top-of-the-line iPhone 13 Pro Max. So which one should you choose? Well, let's break down the specs. Now, I haven't gone hands-on with the S22 Ultra yet, but a lot of the things you need to know about this phone can be found in the specs. And thankfully, I've gone through all of that fine print for you. So first up, let's go through price and performance. The S22 Ultra starts at $1,200, while last year's iPhone 13 Pro Max starts at $1,099. Samsung doesn't do expandable storage anymore, so what you see on the storage front is what you get. The storage options start out at 128GB with 8GB of RAM. From there, you can go up to 256, 512, or 1TB of storage. Those all come with 12GB of RAM. On the Apple side, the iPhone 13 was the first iPhone to offer 1TB of storage, but you can also choose 128, 256, or 512GB models. The S22 Ultra has the newest Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor, or latest Exynos chip, depending on your country. The iPhone 13 Pro uses Apple's A15 Bionic chip. Both phones are water resistant, rated to IP68. Okay, next up, design and display. The S22 Ultra has a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED display with HDR10+ support and QHD+ resolution. The screen also has a 120Hz dynamic refresh rate that stays low when you're doing things like reading static text, but it jumps up when you're watching video or playing games. The iPhone 13 Pro Max has a slightly smaller 6.7-inch Super Retina OLED display with a resolution of 2778 by 1284 at 458 ppi. It also has a 120Hz adaptive refresh rate. The S22 Ultra has an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor under the screen, while the iPhone unlocks with Face ID. The big design difference on the S22 Ultra is the stylus. Unlike the previous S21, the S22 Ultra actually integrates the S Pen into the design. Note fans, you can rejoice with this one. Now let's talk cameras. Probably one of the most important features on a flagship phone. We still need to do camera tests for Samsung's new Galaxy phone, but on paper, the hardware looks pretty similar to last year's S21. The S22 Ultra has a 12-megapixel ultra-wide-angle lens, a 108-megapixel wide-angle lens, and two 10-megapixel telephoto lenses, one with 10x optical zoom and a second with 3x optical zoom. As for bells and whistles, Samsung is still talking up its space zoom, a combination of optical and digital zoom with some image processing thrown in, which gives you 100x zoom powers. It also has a sensor on the back for laser autofocus, and for your selfies, there's a 40-megapixel camera on the front. The iPhone 13 Pro Max has three 12-megapixel cameras on the rear, an ultra-wide-angle lens, a wide lens, and a telephoto lens that offers 3x optical zoom in and 2x optical zoom out for a 6x zoom range. It also has a LiDAR scanner for night mode portraits. On the front, the iPhone has Apple's True Depth camera with a 12-megapixel sensor. In terms of video shooting, the Galaxy phone can capture 4K footage at 60 frames per second on both the front and rear cameras. The rear camera can also shoot in 8K at 24 frames per second. The iPhone 13 can also shoot in 4K at 60 frames per second on both the front and rear cameras. Both front and rear cameras also offer Dolby Vision HDR and ProRes 4K video recording at 30 frames per second, though you'll be limited to 1080p if you have the 128GB iPhone, because that's just a matter of storage space. Finally, the iPhone has its famous cinematic mode that lets you record videos with a shallow depth of field if you want to try your hand at pulling focus and creating those cinematic movies. So with all of that shooting you'll be doing, it's time to talk about battery life. The S22 Ultra has a 5000 mAh battery inside, but this is a new device, so be sure to stay tuned to CNET as we put that through its paces in real-world testing. Apple doesn't disclose battery capacity, but the iPhone 13 Pro has the best battery life out of any iPhone CNET has tested. My colleague Patrick Holland ran it through CNET's standard battery test, where we play a looped video on airplane mode with the screen at half brightness, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max lasted 31 hours and 19 minutes. So there you have it, everything you need to know about these two top-end phones and how they stack up. But remember, these are just the specs on paper. Stay tuned to CNET for our full reviews, plus real-world testing of the S22 Ultra and all of our favourite features. And I can't believe I'm actually starting this battle, but let me know in the comments below which one you pick.